Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Here are the real meanings of certain words, like the word dust. It means mud with the juice squeezed out of it. The real meaning of the word secret. A story you tell to one person at a time. And the real meaning of the phrase political correctness, a doctrine fostered by a delusional, illogical minority. How true. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. We need a patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Monday morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, good morning, good morning. I tell you what, blue sky, some clouds out there, but I'm thinking on the optimistic side. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route, service 734-6969. Right now, without further ado, let's go over to our main studios for our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
Hello there, Mr. Wheels. Give us the pledge, please.
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, there you go. Good job, buddy. Thank you very much. And right now, let's just scoot right to the weather forecast, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley, 678-6945. Look for that blue door. All your carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home. And Whitney says, Fuzzy is coming back. I didn't know he left. Fuzzy is coming back. Grab some faux fur, area rugs, or fuzzy couch pillows to make that comeback in your home, and you're ready for the fuzzy return. Right now, here's our weather. I'll be right back.
We are still in that flood warning. It is going to be in effect through today, maybe on into tomorrow. Plus, we've got the wind. It's nasty outside, but we're going to see some sunshine. Winds out of the west right around 20 miles an hour, gusts possible of 35 plus. And looking at a high of 36 for today. Tonight, hopefully, those winds are going to be dying down. We are expecting some rain and or snow showers in the forecast for tonight, about a 40% shot. Low of 34 tomorrow. Rain showers, about 50% chance in the forecast for tomorrow under mostly cloudy skies. High of 43, partly cloudy for Tuesday night, low 38, and then warming up to 52 for Wednesday, possibly 57 for Thursday. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. That forecast sounds so much better than the one we had last Thursday. And the weather brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Really nice people. Talking about really nice people, don't forget Two Darrell's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Hello, Kevin. Hello, Cindy. And, a great gift to give someone, for spring, and they're probably getting ready for the spring and the summer and everything. Maybe they need their curtains to be cleaned, all the yucky-ducky stuff that's been in the house. They want to get them cleaned. Well, give them a gift certificate. That's right, a prepaid gift card. And that'd be a nice gift for them at Darrell's Cleaners. They can clean and restore anything. If they can do my laundry and make it look brand spanking new, What can they do for you? Get a hold of them today, Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Really, really good people. In our quick shots this morning, yesterday, Deanne and I were blessed to have breakfast with two of our dearest friends from this program, and that is two wonderful people, Tony and Mary Salerno from Twin Falls. Thank you for a wonderful time yesterday morning for breakfast. And I have done my anti-snow dance out in the front yard. Of course, I did it in the dark. Yeah, I did that. Guy on crutches, you got to move slow. But anyway, I'm done my anti-snow dance. No more snow. That's it. I quit. And next Saturday evening, another quick shot. Don't forget, spring ahead. Set your clocks ahead next Saturday evening because we delve back into a time I don't like, spring daylight saving time. Let's see, what else have I got here? New Trump ban on travel ban coming up today, and we're going to see what the wording is like and how the left, the insidious, crazy left loons, are going to react to that. Those are a couple of the quick shots in the news this morning. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927 4587. Don't forget our dear friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. All your heating and electrical needs. Every little bit, from light bulbs all the way to the big putting in of the heating and the electrical. I mean, everything. They're so sharp. At 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric. And real quick, I want to get this out of the way really fast because I'm going to be announcing it a whole bunch of times today and for the rest of this week. I don't care if there's 10 feet of water outside. We're going to go ahead and no matter what have lunch bunch, not this Thursday. Somebody out there was spreading wrong information and saying it's this Thursday. No, it was never said to be this Thursday. It was said last week, the 16th. That's not this week, it's next week. Next week. And don't get it misconstrued because I want everybody there. We've had 3 months of bad luck, so now let's have a ripping good lunch bunch on the 16th at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner at 611 Overland in Burley. Also another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Have you tried those sizzling skillet meals? Oh, I was talking to some friends of mine that went in and had that the other day, and they said absolutely fantastic. They loved it, along with all the different pancake breakfasts and everything. Oh, please stop in. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, America's Diner. Denny's Restaurant, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, coming up next Thursday, the 16th. Gotcha. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Happy birthday to you, Lori May. Lori May, my neighbor. And hopefully she's on her way to work this morning, or maybe she's got the radio on at work. Happy birthday today to Lori May. There's some fantastic neighbors and good friends. Happy birthday to you. Oh, boy. Now the yuck has hit the wall, and rightfully so. I'm not at all opposed to Donald Trump's administration accusing the Obama administration of anything. I mean, I'm not opposed to it at all. I have said for years on this program, and I don't care what the left thinks or how they react in their emails and their knot-headed little remarks. I just have never trusted Obama. I think right now it's coming to fruition. I think the left, by what they say and they do, the Democrats will do anything. They will contrive anything. They will stand behind anything to bring down the Trump administration. Now, I have spent some time this morning going through literally piles and piles of old program bits and segments. and found some issuances of stories from the Daily Caller and some of the other sources that talked about wiretapping from the Obama administration. So what's being said right now is not new. I mean, it's not opening up a brand new hole in the dirt and saying, oh, look at this. It's been around for months and months and months with the issuance of thought that Obama and his administration had been listening. Look at the James Rosen story for Fox News, if you don't believe what I'm saying. They tried to dig up dirt enough to fill a dump truck on James Rosen, and he emerged totally clean. But they were listening to phone calls. They even tapped his mother and dad's house. So when Trump says over the weekend, and a lot of people went, oh, how could he say that about Obama? Well, it's easy. I honestly think that the Obama administration and the left and the Democrats now currently will stoop to any low level to dismantle and destroy this administration. Listen to this, and I'm going to paraphrase most of it, but the gist is there in all honesty. Listen to this gem from former Attorney General Loretta Lynch. Again, I'm paraphrasing. She said that the left should not stop fighting against Trump, even if it means blood and loss of life. I mean, how deviant are these people? Democrats are insane, if not all of them, most. And what the left and Democrats did at a very peaceful, I want to stress this because the proof is in the videos, a very peaceful pro-Trump rally in Berkeley, California. And there were people there from various ages. I mean, we're talking from their early 20s all the way up to being substantial senior citizens. They were mobbed and they were beaten by the left Democrats. Some beat women and older folks down to the ground and swore at them with filthy language and absolutely denigrated what they were doing in a peaceful fashion. This is the left causing the trouble, folks. Your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Right now, what's going on in this country is that we're seeing the left rip apart the time and the money that we are spending as citizens and taxpayers to move a new administration in order to work for us and get things done. And the left and the Democrats are doing everything they can, everything, plus there's more to come, to absolutely be revolting and cause this kind of a mess. Caller, I'm going to be right with you in a minute. Stand by, I promise. I just want to get this word in. Berry Equipment and Rental, they have all the equipment to get the job done right. You know that. They've got 3 locations, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. And they're thinking spring with those Walker lawn mowers. Oh, yeah, 0% for 45 months. 0% interest for 48 months. Use what the pros use at Berry Equipment and Rental. All the equipment rentals, retail equipment sales, Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. The absolute best. Berry Equipment and Rental. Caller, thank you. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. The Democratic Party and Chuck Schumer, to point out, are acting like a bunch of communists. What they cannot have and what they have lost, they want to destroy. And they lost the election because they did a bum job for 8 years, and they almost brought this country to its knees. Well, and I think what needs to happen is photographs taken at every one of these demonstrations, and if they put the cameras towards the back of the demonstration, they'll find the same individuals that are there instigating the problems, and they should be brought up on charges and arrested for any damage or any physical injuries that occur.
I agree. Anyone, I don't care who they are or what party affiliation or what their politics are, anyone that would, in a group of thugs, go into a peaceful protest, and it was a very peaceful protest, and start using the most of obscene language and knocking people, many of them seniors, down to the ground and beating them, where are the police? Where are the arrests? Where are the court cases for assault and battery? And quite frankly, Tony, in a situation like that, where you see somebody, women being, a mother of four being knocked to the ground, a senior gentleman, probably 70, 75 years old, being knocked to the ground, it wouldn't take me much to totally lose my temper and start swinging. These people are the lowest of scum in the bottom of the barrel.
Well, they have to untie the hands of the police. Every time the police get out there and try to do something, they're under scrutiny to cameras and by the Democratic Party. So, when will the police be able to do their jobs?
Yeah. Or why are they, in some instances, like what happened on the Berkeley campus, allowing these absolute worthless human beings to destroy and burn? They should have stepped in before it ever escalated to that point. And I'm wondering who gave, or if there was, a stand-down order.
Boy, I don't know. But something's got to stop. Otherwise, there's going to be a war between. Pretty soon, the Republicans are going to get their belly full of what's going on, and there's going to be real battles in the street.
Well, there should be. If this is the case, and we see our senior citizens being knocked down and beaten, and women, a mother of four, being knocked down and beaten, and many others, then it's time to look at the logistics problem about, are the police doing their job? And if not, why not? And people have every right to peaceful protest. I've said that for both sides, the left and the right. But when it escalates into burning and hurting and beating, something's got to stop, Tony, right now.
Well, maybe we can get together at our local get-together places and demand that things are done.
I appreciate your call, and I said earlier, thank you to you and your lovely wife for a wonderful time yesterday in the visit and breakfast. Thank you so much.
We really enjoyed it, and we're looking forward to the next one.
All right. God bless you, my dear friend. Thank you very, very much.
Okay.
Wonderful people.
Bye-bye.
Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What would you do, honestly, if you were taking part in a very peaceful protest for Donald Trump? And by the way, I got to say this really quick, and I mean this. They interviewed some of the pro-Trump rallyists back in New York. I saw this on Friday night last week. And they were very well educated, very subdued. And they were giving their points as to why they were out there on the street. They never denigrated anybody else. They didn't use any bad language. It was just very professional. These were people that were lawyers, doctors. These were people that worked for the city. These were housewives. It was absolutely interesting and very pleasant to see a very calm, very peaceful rally for our president. And then you hear the interviews with the left, with all the F-bombs and all the bad language and the terrible placards they hold, violence against our president and everything. It doesn't take a mental giant to realize the left is completely chaotic. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Nick Greenwell, I am going to call that office sometime today. I promise. And get scheduled to start coming back down there again. I got to get that leg exercised again. They have the best of sports medicine, all the exercises, the hydrotherapy pool, all of this helping you get back to being you. Whether you're 6 months old or 96, they can and they will help. They are the best at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Number to call, 678-1191. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Excellent. Well, I hear the old cow bawling. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, old friend.
How are you, my friend?
Oh, I had a great weekend.
I did too. I got to tell you that I was frustrated, though, to the point where little by little, Doug, it's slipping away and fading away more so every day, the ethics and morality of our country.
Yes, there are a lot of people that are, going to the dark side or the evil side. But there are a few out there that are still standing strong, and I stand with them.
Absolutely.
And President Trump is one of them. He is a man that doesn't mix words, which is good. He doesn't use political jargon so he can answer a question, take 10 minutes, and not answer the question.
Yeah.
The man's right straightforward, which is a breath of fresh air.
Doug, I have an idea. Why don't you, Doug Martin, and myself, Zeb Bell, organize a very peaceful, very professional, pro-Trump rally? Now, here's what we'll do for security. Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to make calls to a couple of my PRCA professional bulldogging buddies, and we will hire them as security. And I dare say we won't have any problems.
And I dare say we won't either. But we need to hold the rally in Sun Valley or on the steps of Boise on the Capitol.
True. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should show our support for common sense and a rejuvenation of America with a better economy, better energy, better education, better everything, and have a rally that's very, very positive. And I think we should do it here in the state of Idaho. Nobody else is.
This is true. Let's get together and talk about it.
All right. And then I'll get a hold of my bulldogging buddies, and they're really good at twisting necks.
Yeah, I'll bet they are. Yes. Yeah, I knew a kid in high school that was a bulldogger. Harley Williver.
Yep.
He was a good old boy. I liked him.
Well, I've always found out that big burly bulldoggers, every one of them, they got the same characteristics. They walk slow, and they will not be moved out of their course of action, and they're good guys to have on your side.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
They are.
But, what did you think? I got to ask you this real quick, and then I got a break coming up in a minute, so bear with me. What did you think of former Attorney General Loretta Lynch with those very, very insidious comments about the left should keep on fighting and do almost anything, including blood, sweat, and tears?
Well, isn't there a law against inciting a riot?
Boy, in her case, there ought to be.
Well, I think there is.
Yeah.
If you incite something and it causes problems and hurts somebody, you should be reliable.
Well,
you should liable, not reliable.
Absolutely.
They're far from reliable.
Well, when you saw that pro-Trump rally in California, with elderly senior citizens knocked down and beaten for doing nothing more than saying they support the president and they want to make America great again, I don't think I could restrain myself.
Well, I wouldn't have. I'll guarantee you I'd have pointed to about two of them in that crowd, and I said, okay, you're number one and you're number two. I don't care what anybody else does to me. I'm going to hurt you, and then I'm going to hurt you.
Yeah, and there's...
Everybody on the pro-Trump side would have picked out one person and said, hey, you're the man that's going to get hurt. You start causing problems. I don't care if they're hitting me in the back with a baseball bat. You're going to get hurt.
Well,
I'll tell you what, you'll back a group of people down. If you pick a couple of them out and you say, you start throwing punches, buddy, you're the one that's going to get the first punch back from me.
Well, the Bible says to turn the other cheek. I only have two. After that, you're on your own.
Exactly. It doesn't say to lay down your arms and let evil win.
That's right.
To stand up against evil.
That's right. I got to do.
The Democratic Party is showing their true colors right now.
Why can't most Americans, and I mean this when I say this, why can't they see through this absolutely evil facade, this false front building that these Democrats are putting up, and see them for what they are, worthless human beings?
A lot of Americans can. The ones that can't feel like they're with the Democrats because the Democrats are the elite. So I'm with the elite.
Yeah.
They send me an email, tell me what to think and how to think and what to say. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to think for my own. They're thinking for me. They're smarter than me. They will do what's best for me.
Yeah. Doug, I'm way late on a break, but good buddy, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay. And everybody, support your senior centers.
Gotcha. All right, buddy. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup. Christine, I got to get over there and see you. Hearing is critical for communication, and if you're not hearing everything, you're missing a bunch. You ought to call for a hearing screening today. All you have to do is call 312-0957. They're located across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room, and please get your hearing checked. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. Absolutely the best. Right now, quickly, I'm going to give away a dozen cookies. I am, thanks to Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert. And lovely restaurant, fantastic bakery. Oh, my goodness. You're going to love it at Sophie's Chatterbox. And here is the question. First-time winners only. No cheaters out there now. Come on. This actor starred in movies from, the Appaloosa, Streetcar for Named Desire, On the Waterfront, all the way to The Godfather. Who is he? This actor starred in movies from the Appaloosa, Streetcar Named Desire, On the Waterfront, to The Godfather. Who is he? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Who is that actor? Give me a call, 436-2244. Come on, win a dozen cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. When I'm talking excellent bakery, I am right there. And a great place to go in and have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're going to love it, Sophie's Chatterbox. Who was the actor, come on, that starred in movies from the Appaloosa, Streetcar Named Desire, On the Waterfront, all the way up to The Godfather? What is that actor's name? Come on, hurry. A dozen delicious cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox. Give me a call real fast. While I'm waiting for your call, I can't imagine why. That's not a hard one. That's really easy. Also want to remind you about Minnecasia sales. At 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. Call or stand by. I'll be right there. If you need overhead doors, interior doors, windows, hey, it's all there. All you got to do is just check it out with Zach and the crew. And, boy, I'm telling you, they also got fantastic carpet deals. I'm telling you, they will help you. And they'll also help send over contractors to do the installation work. Unbelievably great. Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley. And they sponsor on Tuesdays Dr. History at 10:06. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. What's the answer?
Marlon Brando.
Who is this?
Bob Ramsey.
Have you ever won before, Bob?
Oh, I think my radio's cutting out this minute.
Okay, turn your radio off. I said, have you ever won the cookies before?
No.
Well, you have now, Bob, so you just call over there to Sophie's. Let them know when you're going to be over to get your cookies, and you're the winner because it was Marlon Brando. Thank you very much for your call.
Thank you very much.
You bet, Bob. Thank you. Marlon Brando. You know, I got to tell you, the reason I came up with that question this morning was that last night on the Western Movie Channel, they had the movie The Appaloosa, starring Marlon Brando. And it absolutely amazed me how Marlon Brando went from a very physically fit actor, and by the way, he was not that bad a horseman. He did a pretty darn good job of riding his horses. in that movie. How he got to be so doggone fat and overweight, you might as well say obese, to The Godfather and then parts after that. I mean, holy cow, somebody was giving him the Twinkies, I'll tell you that. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. I have an idea.
What's that?
My neighbor belongs to a motorcycle club.
Uh-huh.
Now, I will talk to him if somebody wants to get a demonstration going or a peaceful demonstration going. We might be able to get 100 motorcyclists up there along with your rodeo friends. And we may introduce a attitude adjustment to people who don't care about Trump.
Oh, I'm beginning to kind of like that idea. I mean, cowboys and cycles, that ought to be quite a security force. But you know something, in all seriousness, Tony, we got to do something, and nobody else is standing up for this administration that was voted in legally, absolutely legally. And all this garbage the left is doing to disrupt, it's costing you and me money and the future of our country.
Well, maybe if we can get something down at, say, the Philo Fairgrounds or the one up in Burley. Anybody wants to get something going, I'll talk to my neighbor. And he's got some pretty colorful friends that show up in the neighborhood once in a while. So,
colorful friends. I love that. Colorful friends. God bless you, Tony. I love it. Thank you. Colorful friends.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Oh, I love that very much. Thank you. Calls are welcome. 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. We got to do something. This idiocy that is being caused by the left, totally disrupting the cabinet, delaying what we are paying for literally as citizens, to get a new government in to lead this country out of the doldrums and lead this country out of the wreck, the absolute wreck the Obama administration left us in for the last 8 years. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And I'm going to talk about the American soccer team in just a moment. They just did something that I absolutely salute them for. As you know, I am not a soccer lover. No. But in this case, I hold them in the highest regard. Don't forget Snake River Auto Body and Paint, 404 4th Avenue West in Twin Falls. Kenny and Dan, the whole crew at Snake River Auto Body and Paint, 734-5790. Write that number down. 734-5790. And they can give you an estimate on all the dings and the dents in your four-wheeled wonder. Get you scheduled for repair. They accept all insurances. I've used them quite a few times, and wow. I mean, absolutely phenomenal service, and they do a fantastic job. Snake River Auto Body and Paint, 404 4th Avenue West in Twin Falls, 734-5790. Absolutely the best. By the way, I know this is for the ladies in the audience now, and I urge everybody to be a part of the great big Southern Idaho Women's Expo 2017, and it's put on by the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce and the Idaho Central Credit Union and Idaho Housing and Finance. It's coming up on April 13th at the Best Western Burley Inn, but they need a whole bunch of vendors, and what a fantastic place to show your business and your wares at that Women's Expo. Man, vendors' booths are just $75 for chamber members, $150 for non-chamber members, and all you have to do is call 679-4793. You're going to be talking to literally, I think there's probably going to be, instead of hundreds, thousands of women there, and they'll get a chance to talk about your business. So 679-4793. Call the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce today, okay? Give me a jangle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Why am I praising the American soccer team? Well, they say, with an edict that came out this weekend, that if you, coaches or players, do not stand up for our national anthem, you don't play. I love it. I absolutely love it. They don't want any dissension. They don't want anybody doing anything like Colin Kaepernick did. They don't want all the bad press, and they just said, listen, this is it. You can have your difference of philosophy. You can have your, this isn't fair, we've got to do this, that, and the other. But you're going to stand for the nation that supports you, and you play for this country. You're going to stand or you don't play. It's as simple as that. Or if you're a coach, you don't coach. You get back in the locker room. You're off the field, basically. You know, it's too bad that the wussy, worthless NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell can't or won't act in the same fashion. These multi-million-dollar prima donna athletes, I got a hangnail, I can't play, coach. Okay, go sit on the bench. And the attitude is such that the players are in control, not the owners, not the coaching staffs, not the commissioner, not the rules and regulations that have been set forth, etc. And I absolutely give praise to the American soccer team saying, well, you don't want to stand? Great. Take that little route right there, go back to the locker room because you're not playing until you stand for the national anthem. I love it. Your thoughts, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Oh, boy. Let's see what else have I got here. I wrote about in my blog last week, Cow Pies and Coffee Cups, all about this absolute insane, I call him insane, anybody with this kind of a mind I have no use for, assistant professor at the University of Wisconsin by the name of Damon Sanjani. And he's teaching a course back there at the University of Wisconsin, my old alma mater, and I'm ashamed of it, that will attempt to offer solutions to what he calls are the problems with whiteness. And I wrote a blog about this last week in Cow Pies, and they're even going as far in this course to try to find out about the treason to whiteness is loyalty to humanity. So if you're against whites, then you are helping humanity. And then this morning, of all things to be in the paper this morning, and I want everybody to cut this out, go to the comic section. Seriously, the comic section. I'm not making this up. And go to Bizarro, the comic Bizarro. Now, picture this. I'm going to give this to you over the air. There is an Indian with long hair and braids sitting at the presidential desk in the Oval Office with some of his aides standing there waiting for him to sign an executive order. And the statement in the cartoon says, January 2021, President Standing Bear signs an executive order to deport all Caucasians back to Europe. Now, the cartoon didn't strike me as funny at all. It struck me as being very upsetting in accordance with some of these other things that are going on with these college courses and everything else, anti-white, anti-Caucasian. We should be not fearful, but we should be very, very cautious right now as to what's going on. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget the urgent cares. We're going to do the weather forecast quick, and then I'll take some more of your calls. The urgent cares, Riverview Urgent Care, 382 North Overland in Burley. Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin Falls, and Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Kyle James and his wonderful, wonderful staff, they're open 7 days a week. Minor emergencies, major care. I don't care if you got the flu or a sinus infection, strep throat, a cut, or a sprain, whatever. Boy, they can help you, and they will help you. So please remember, minor emergency, major care at the urgent cares. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We are still in that flood warning. It is going to be in effect through today, maybe on into tomorrow. Plus, we've got the wind. It's nasty outside, but we're going to see some sunshine. Winds out of the west right around 20 miles an hour, gusts possible of 35 plus. And looking at a high of 36 for today. Tonight, hopefully, those winds are going to be dying down. We are expecting some rain and or snow showers in the forecast for tonight, about a 40% shot. Low of 34 tomorrow. Rain showers, about 50% chance in the forecast for tomorrow under mostly cloudy skies. High of 43, partly cloudy for Tuesday night, low of 38, and then warming up to 52 for Wednesday, possibly 57 for Thursday. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
That was a mean guitar in the background there, Gina. I like that. She was playing the guitar while she did the weather. That's honest. Well, boy, I'll tell you, she's a great guitar picker. Anyhow, the weather brought to you by the Urgent Cares, Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care in Twin, and Jerome Urgent Care in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care. Absolutely. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. If this story were about anybody else except Barbara Streisand, I don't even know if I'd put it on the... Well, yeah, I would too. There's a bunch of these wackos that have said that if Donald Trump won the election, they would leave the country. They would leave the United States. And to date, I haven't heard of anybody packing their suitcase and buying a ticket and saying goodbye. And she's one of them. I'll leave the country if Donald Trump is elected president. Well, Babs, you're still here. But that's not what I want to talk to you about, Barbara Streisand. Barbara has put on a lot of weight. Babs is getting a little heavy. Barbara is having to reinforce some of her chairs with overload shocks. She's getting a little bit porky. And she is blaming her weight gain on Donald Trump being the president. You can't make this stuff up, folks. No, the left. I'm telling you what. Ooh, all the screws are not tightened up. Yep, she is blaming her weight gain on Donald Trump's presidency. She says she gets up in the morning, and after she watches the news, she is so distraught that all she wants to do is eat, eat, eat. So she's putting on a ton of weight. Look out, Barbara. She's backing up. You can hear the beeper. And she's putting on a ton of weight. She's got an eating disorder, and she is now officially blaming the presidency of Donald Trump. Now, what are your thoughts on that? And Babs told us that she was going to leave the country if he was elected president. Now, it looks like if she got ready to go as big as she's getting, she would probably have to rent a space in the cargo hold. Poor Barbara. Poor Barbara. All right, calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You can't make this stuff up. I'm going to leave. You got to be president. Now I can't leave because I'm too heavy. Poor Barbara. Anyway, caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget Ag Express. They are looking for drivers. Yes, they are. And even full and part-time positions, retired folks, and they will work around your schedule, whatever works best for you. And you're home every night, too. Vacations, great benefit program. Hey, give them a call today. Ag Express, call Dale and Paul at 438-8886. Allen in Twin Falls, 731-2495. And Russ over in Burley, 431-7175. Ag Express looking for drivers. You call them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, you know, it's amazing how Trump seems to be able to be the liberals just have to figure out. You know, I've got a friend that won't even speak to me now since Trump was elected because he's just not right for this country. And Hillary would have been great and all that kind of stuff. But I just say he's going to get blamed for everything. But the leading news organization is the New York Times as far as fake news, and they've been doing it for a long, long time. And I've got a book called All the News That Fits, and it was published in 1969, and by Herman Dinsmore. Well, anyway, the New York Times, of course, way back when, they said Castro was the George Washington of Cuba. At the same time, in the late 50s, the founder and president of the John Birch Society, Robert Welch, said, Castro was a communist.
Yeah.
He was right about that. And
Yeah.
so the New York Times has been, during the Vietnam War, and basically have been doing everything they can, and the Washington Post, to destroy our country's culture, our economy. I mean, they're the enemy of the people, and us deplorables are waking up to that fact, or at least a lot more people are. And every time the liberals come out with this stuff, Trump gets more supporters.
Yeah.
Because they're beginning to really see through what these people are all about.
I agree with that.
Whether people are gaining weight or what,
I got to tell you, Adrian, it's laughable, but yet it's not funny that the left is absolutely, I think they're unhinged. I think people like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, of course, Nancy hasn't been well for a long time. Somebody ought to put a stamp on her forehead and just please mail her someplace. But these people are not right. They're sick and they're almost bordering on insanity. They didn't get their way and now they're just absolutely, I think they're capable of doing almost anything.
Well, that's it. They're desperate. And desperate people do desperate, dastardly deeds for sure. But they can see they've been losing elections, tremendously at all levels of government. And the Democratic Party really is almost non-existent.
Yeah.
In the state of Idaho, I think at the legislative level, I'm not sure just legislative, but it's about 85% are all Republicans. Now, some of those Republicans, of course, run on with a Republican name because they know they can't get elected with a Democratic name. So they're basically rhinos, Republican name only, and then there's plenty of neocons that really don't believe in the Constitution. But we had a great vote last week, 24-11 by Idaho Senate to beat down this call for a constitutional convention. That was a great thing.
Yep.
That happened. Unfortunately, Wyoming did approve it, so they only need 5 more states, and they're just going to keep hammering away. And there's a lot of money. George Soros and company, they would love to get their hands on the Constitution, and a lot of well-meaning but misguided, so-called conservatives as well.
Well, I think we did the right thing here. And I know you heard the program when I had Hagedorn and also Kelly Anthon and another gentleman on, and I was glad that it went down in flames. And, Adrian, I got to get a Les Schwab spot in, but I do appreciate your remarks this morning. Thank you.
You bet. Well, I'm afraid Kelly voted the wrong way, and he should be taken to the woodshed on that issue. But anyway, have a great day. Thanks.
All right, sir. Thank you much. Right now, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, they're doing the right thing that matters to you. They're great customers. They're having a great big spring tire sale right now. I mean, let's talk about the backcountry all-terrain tire for your pickups and SUVs. Or how about the Ultra Z900 for your passenger cars, up to an 80,000-mile warranty, depending on how you drive. And all of these tires are on sale. You better get in there and check them out today. 7 locations serving you with the best of service, the nicest of people, and the most knowledge at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, struts, batteries. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to tell you what's coming up later on this morning. I want to remind you that we talked to the folks at My Pillow. You've seen the ads on television. You've seen the owner and CEO, Mike Lindell. Well, Mike's going to be on our program this morning. We asked him if he would please come on our program. He's the founder of My Pillow. He's got an amazing story to tell, a success story, and I'm very proud to say he's going to be on the show, hopefully, if something didn't go wrong, at 10:30 this morning. So stay tuned for that. And we got a lot of good guests coming up before that, too. So you stay tuned. Zeb at the Ranch on a Monday, March 6th. I love the weather forecast towards the end of the week. They said highs in the 50s, and I counted, and there's like 5 or 6 days in a row in the 50s. I'm loving it. Maybe it's springtime. I'll be back in about 7 minutes. Wheels, take us up to the news. Goody, goody, goody. Here we go, hour number 2. I'm looking out the window right here, and I know it's a little chilly outside. What is it about? Oh, I'll check that out in just a minute. But I was just going to say, I'm seeing blue sky. I am seeing blue sky, 28, 29 degrees outside right now. Welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
You know, the people make the difference at Western Way Services. They really work hard for you. I'm telling you, whether it's your weekly pickup of your garbage on the route service, or whether it's supplying you the dumpsters, or maybe you need one of the Go Mini portable storage units, oh my goodness, all you got to do is call them at 734-6969. Tell them what your wishes and wants are, and they can help you. Yep. They are the best, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services. You get a hold of them today. Excellent. Hey, don't forget, every morning when we start the program, we started off with the weather forecast sponsored by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for that blue door. Whatever you need to make your house a home. Look for the blue door. Cheney Flooring and Home Design. They are the best. Real fast, before we get our guest on the program this hour, I want to remind you, too, about our friends over at Ark Animal Hospital. The dogs, the kitty cats, the steers, the horses, whatever. It's a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them all. And it's really, really true. They have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Absolutely, Dr. Bill, Dr. Liz, the whole crew over at Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street in Hayburn. They have a telephone number you need to put right by the old landline and call them if you need help, 678-1177. That number again, 678-1177, Ark Animal Hospital in Hayburn, serving you. Let's go to the phone line right now and listen to this title. How would you like to answer the phone every day and say, hello, my name is Tony McCammon, University of Idaho Area Extension Horticulturist, Twin Falls County Extension. Whew. There he is. Good morning, Tony.
How you doing, Zeb?
I'm worn out from introducing you.
Yeah, that's quite the title.
Well, now,
I usually just say this is Tony, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, now, yeah, I understand. I heard a rumor. I was talking to your secretary the other day, and they said during the winter months, you are so distraught with frozen ground that you've had kind of a sandbox built down in your basement so you can just get on your hands and knees and feel the soil because you're such an outdoorsman. Is that really true?
I really do need to get into some greenhouses this time of year. I head into greenhouses and smell the plants and stick my hand in the soil. And you know, you were just talking a little bit, you know, it's sunny outside, and And I got so excited this morning when I got to work, I wet my plants.
Too much information. I like that, though. I mean, it made a lot of people listen. Some people drove off the road. I hope the fenders aren't too bad. But anyhow, Tony, this time of the year, here we're looking at March 6th. I can just imagine that you're just on bended knee praying that spring is finally going to be sprung.
Oh, you know, we go through this doom and gloom February and March, especially if the groundhog sees his shadow. And yeah, we get a little cabin fever, and if you don't bring some plants inside and you don't have something to take care of during the winter months, then yeah, you just can't wait to get out and start digging in that soil. But right now it's just so wet that you can't really get out and do a whole lot.
Well, let me ask you, you mentioned something.
Put together, the Master Gardeners and I have put together a pretty good program. We're calling it Cabin Fever to Garden Fever, and it's just that little tinge of hope that the sunshine and warm temperatures are on the way, and right now our soil temperatures are around 33, 34 degrees, so it's still really cold out there. There's only a few weeds that'll germinate in that type of a soil, so we're still a ways away. But if we can just start getting our minds wrapped around some horticulture and some plants and some good trees that we can start designing with. And I think that'll kind of kick this cabin fever that a lot of people are dealing with.
Okay, now if we, like the weather forecast says, we're going to start trending possibly by Wednesday and up signal in temperatures to where we could be looking at like 8 or 9 days of the temperature getting up to about 55, 56, 57, right in that area. What does that bode for possibly looking at some early spring gardening?
Well, you know, some cleaning up, yes, but as far as putting some seeds in the ground, not a whole lot of things are going to germinate in that type. And in fact, they'll because of the amount of moisture that's in the soil, they'll probably rot. So in a vegetable garden type setting, you still got to kind of hold back a little bit. There's a couple cole crops that you might be able to get out as temperatures start to get up in the mid-50s. You could get out some of your cabbage and your kale and spinach and those type of things, and those will do pretty good in that type of a setting, and actually get really nice thick epidermises, so it tastes a lot better in your salad. So yeah, you can get some of the cole crops out, but yeah, we're still easily mid-April before we're gonna be able to start thinking about tomatoes and those type of things. It's still pretty cold outside.
All right, now Tony, this cabin fever to garden fever is coming up this next Saturday, March 11th, at the Red Lion Hotel in Twin. What are you going to try to accomplish? What's cooking there at this great big symposium?
Oh, we got some great speakers coming in from Idaho Power to talk about putting the right tree in the right place, and just some really good selections of trees and shrubs. We have a topic on turf grass management, design, landscape design, and giving some good examples and some bad examples of what we don't want our landscapes to look like and what we do want our landscapes to mimic. We'll have some classes on native plants and spices and herbs and straw bale gardening and cut flowers and vegetables. We even have a bee, like 5-generation bee farmer that's going to come and talk about taking care of our beehives and see if anybody is interested in starting some bees in their backyard.
Holy smokes! And is there a charge for this? Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's $40. You can register through my office. You can also register at the door, but we do have a limited amount of space, and so I'd recommend that people register beforehand. But it is $40 at the door if you wanted to come. We'll have a silent auction. We'll have drawings and door prizes, and we'll have even some people exhibiting, and some commercial vendors. So it's quite an event. We've done that. We do this every 2 years. This is our I think this is our 8th annual
Southern Idaho Garden Symposium. And this is the first time, at least in the 8 years, or the 8 times that we've done this, that it's a spring event. Usually this is a fall event. And we felt like we could help people get out the door and shake off some of this cabin fever.
Okay, now, what's the number one thing that you're trying to accomplish here? Are you trying to get more people involved in gardening? Are you trying to help those already involved in gardening to become more efficient at what they do? I mean, what's the motive here?
Oh, I'd say it's both. We'd love to get more people involved in gardening, and I think those people that are already involved in gardening, this is a great place to come and just learn some more tips and activities that they could implement that would be kind of better management practices that make them better gardeners.
Okay. Now, one thing that we talked about the last time you were on the program, we talked about being a master gardener, and I see that the overall encompassing sponsor of this event is the Southern Idaho Master Gardeners. What is a master gardener? I mean, somebody that just knows a whole lot more than their neighbor, or what is this?
Oh, they're just people that are dedicated to the gardening practice, and they've met a group of people that share their hobby and their love for being outdoors. And they get together and they do community projects, community service projects, and they're required to do so many hours to maintain their certification as a master gardener. But it's a University of Idaho program, and so it's a statewide program. It's not just a statewide program; it's a national and international-wide program. We actually have a international master gardener conference that's happening in Portland in July, and so that's going to be a great event as well. So yeah, it's not just a local program that I've developed. This is a national and international program where people gardeners all over the country are giving back to their communities through projects and service.
Holy cow. I mean, if you were to equate that to numbers on a national and international level, how many master gardeners are there in the world today?
Well, I really don't know. I could tell you how many are in Idaho. We have roughly about 12,000 master gardeners.
Oh my!
In Idaho, and if you we're one of the smaller states as it pertains to the program. So I imagine you start getting down to the East Coast and Washington and Oregon, you start getting some bigger numbers. At least those are the people that show up to those international programs, and they're pretty heavily invested into the program. And then you get all the different counties. You get a lot more counties in a small location, and they all have their own big programs. So I would guess there's probably close to 500,000 master gardeners easy in the United States alone, and then you have Canada and South Korea and Australia, and so you start branching out. There's quite a few master gardeners.
Wow.
And then you have different societies as well. It isn't just the Master Gardener program. There's all sorts of gardening societies that you can belong to.
Well, now, when you get together and you talk about these different Master Gardener programs all across the country, I mean, God bless the University of Idaho and you, but I mean, where did this idea spring up anyway? Who's really responsible for this great idea?
1976, I actually had the opportunity to meet the guy that started this. 1976, in Washington State. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he started the program in the Pierce County area, and he was overwhelmed with people bringing in samples and just overwhelmed. I mean, he couldn't do any of his own research. He couldn't do anything because he was constantly answering other people's questions. And so he started a program where he could train other gardeners to answer a lot of these basic gardening questions of, what is a squash bug and how do I take care of it, and how do I get rid of nipple gall and some of these other diseases and pests that we deal with. And so he started this program, and he would have master gardeners come in and answer those type of questions, and that freed up his time, so he was able to do more research and more programming, and that just caught on like wildfire across the nation, and everybody's. I think the Master Gardener program is active in all 50 states.
Tony, as a society, 150, 200 years ago, everybody was involved in agriculture and, per se, gardening to sustain themselves and have something to eat. And then all of a sudden, over the last 200 years, now there's less than 1% of our population really involved in food production. Do you see this number changing and the attitudes changing?
Well, you go back 200 years, and one farmer was providing enough food for one family. And today, one farmer is providing enough food for 200 families. Actually, it was about the 50s, 60s, and 70s where we started creating these suburbs, and people realized that they could travel to the national parks and other things. We just got out of gardening. We just decided it wasn't. We couldn't keep the garden up because we just wanted to travel. We bought boats and we went out and we started enjoying the outdoors. We just didn't have time for gardening anymore. And as prices kept climbing in our food markets, I think there's a rejuvenation in. I can grow my own food, and there's a lot more awareness for what we're putting in our foods, chemical wise, and how we're taking care of them, and we know exactly what we're putting into it if we're gardening them ourselves.
Yeah.
Whereas if you went to the grocery store, you don't know who the farmer is. There's this major disconnect from our grocery to our table of really understanding where this food is coming from. And I'm a big advocate of locally grown produce and really knowing your farmers and understanding who's making your food and understanding their practices. And so these locally grown hubs of food, I think that's a great benefit to the communities as we get more and more of these farmers markets and grocery stands on the side of the road. I think those are a big benefit to the communities of Idaho.
Let me ask you this, Tony. In your years of doing this, have you had personal experiences and stories of where, and I'm not going to be careful about how I choose the words because I'm very blunt, some of the snobby type people in the country that all of a sudden have realized the net worth of becoming basically down to earth in the earth and started doing their own growing? What about a transition in their personality and their attitude?
Well, I don't know that I've run into a lot of that. Most of the people that come and take a master gardener class are somewhat interested in gardening. Some of them, their wives are interested in gardening, and they drug them along with them. And some of them are farmers. They've been farmers their whole lives, and they just want to do a little bit more backyard stuff, and they've got rid of their big expanse of farmland, and so they're just going to do small farm and try to grow their own food, and they wanted some new tips. And so I don't know that I've run into a lot of people that especially here in Idaho. Maybe if I got a little bit more on the national stage, I'd run into that a little bit more if I'm teaching a master gardener class in a New York or a Los Angeles type setting. But here in Idaho, everybody's pretty connected to the land. Everybody's pretty connected to the soil.
Let me ask you one final thought here, and then we'll go back over the cabin fever to garden fever. But do you, on behalf of the University of Idaho, do you have books available to people that might kind of whet their interest and pique their interest into becoming gardeners?
Oh yeah. We have. I have a pretty decent library in my office, but there are some great books out there. It really depends on what your interests are. There's feng shui gardening and working with kind of the chi of nature in designing your gardens. And then there's edible landscaping, and there's some great books on edible landscaping in turning your landscape more into something usable, medicinal / food purposes. And so really depends on where your interests lie. There are some great landscaping books, just perennial gardens and cut flowers. Like I said, with our program coming up, we have someone speaking specifically on bringing those cut flowers into your home and how to arrange them. But yeah, I mean, it really depends on where your interests lie. And we have we actually at the symposium we'll also have the local library, the Twin Falls Library, will be bringing samples of the different types of books that they have in their library. And then also, if they don't see, if some of our clientele do not see the type of books that they want to learn about, then they can write down, on a list, and the library will try to find those books and build up their library.
Oh, wonderful.
Resources.
Now, Tony...
I recommend, if you're just looking for a book just to kind of start, I might suggest perennial, just a book on perennials.
Okay.
And I believe it's called Perennials by Season.
Yeah.
It's called Perennials by Season, and it kind of walks you through the different plants that grow in the spring, and it actually goes by month, so you'll find out what specific plants are blooming in July and what specific plants are blooming in August and September and on. So
okay.
it kind of gives you a good outline of if you're going to just looking for landscaping. If you're more about vegetables, I would definitely just start with like an edible landscaping and start looking at the different ways that you could turn your landscape into a food production resource for your family.
Okay. Man, I'll tell you what, this guy is passionate about his work, and he really is well thought of for what he has done at the University of Idaho. Tony McCammon, Area Extension Horticulturist. Now, once again, Tony, quickly tell us all about what's coming up this coming Saturday.
All right, so Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, we'll start with registration, and we'll have our first classes start around 8:30. And the price is $40. We have classes from design to how to take care of your turf grass, talk about native plants and trees and shrubs, cut flowers and how to arrange those in your house, straw bale gardening, spices and herbs, and a great recipe book to come with that. We'll have door prizes, bonus drawings, and commercial exhibits. So please come down and check us out. It's $40 at the door. $40 before then would be really good. And it includes lunch, so you can't beat the price and the education.
Absolutely. South Idaho Garden Symposium, Cabin Fever to Garden Fever, this coming Saturday, March 11th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Red Lion Hotel in Twin Falls. Tony McCammon, you are the man, and thank you. Anytime we have something to do with growing something, we'll get you on the air. Tony, God bless. Thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, Zeb. Appreciate it.
All right, sir. Thank you. Good man, Tony McCammon right there with the University of Idaho, and he is the horticulturist. Knows a lot. Hey, by the way, I want to remind you of our dear, dear friend Joel Heward, his family, and his staff at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Family place, and a place where they really know how to relate to families when there's a time of need and the passing of a loved one. And they can help travel to the rural towns and churches to meet you and help you with all the arrangements. Always, always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. They care, and they will help. Please write the number down. Give them a call. 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. That number again, 436-5636. Last hour, we talked about the huge Southern Idaho Women's Expo coming up on Thursday, April 13th at the Best Western Burley Inn. Vendors, this is a phenomenal opportunity for you to get over there and tell all the women that are going to be at this Southern Idaho Women's Expo about your business and about how all your wares, everything. It's a great place for vendors. Vendor booths are $75 for chamber members, $150 for non-chamber members, and you need to call the chamber office right now, immediately, for booth registration. I bit my tongue. Booth registration sounds better when you say it correctly. 679-4793. That number again for booth registration. Vendors, you call right now. 679-4793 for the Southern Idaho Women's Expo coming up on April 13th in Burley. Holy cow, in just a few minutes we're going to have Christina Martin on our program with the Pacific Legal Foundation. But first and foremost, I want to tell you that Let's Ride. Get your motor running over at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. Now, still plenty of time to go snowmobiling and still plenty of snow. And they've also got the timber sled systems. You know that. But it's also time now to start thinking about four-wheeling. Oh, my goodness. Have they got a display over there in that front room? It's huge. And they've got it jam-packed full. All the four-wheelers. My goodness sakes. You better get in there and check it out today. And along with all the accessories. And a fantastic service department. And I think Nick would agree with me. Deanne, wouldn't you say, too, that it's now time to think about those four-wheelers to get them serviced for this next spring and summer? Yep. All at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. This is where the fun is sold. Absolutely. But I'm not going to take my snowplow off my four-wheeler yet. Hey, by the way, too, when you think about Rupert and all the good folks over in that neck of the woods, don't forget, too, for the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits. Yes, sir. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Number to call, 436-4424. Dedicated and responsive to your needs. You be sure and give them a call for an appointment today to help you, your family, and your business. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Let us go to the phone line right now, as I just dropped a bunch of my papers on the floor. Oh, my. Nice mess there, Beth. Let's go to the phone line and say a very good morning to a Pacific Legal Foundation attorney, Christina Martin. Good morning, Christina. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good morning.
What in the world is going on in your world? You're back on the, East Coast? Back where, what's the weather like back there this morning?
Well, it's a beautiful day here in Florida. I'm in Pacific Legal Foundation's Atlantic Center, and it's about 70 degrees, and a nice tropical breeze is blowing.
You know, I've been to Florida many, many times, and every time I've been there, when you say it's a nice tropical breeze with your humidity, a fat boy like me, I was dying down there.
Well, in the summer it does get quite hot, but this time of year it's not very humid. It's pretty cool.
Well, Christina, I really wanted you on the program this morning because these stories, like what we're going to talk about this morning, they infuriate me because it seems like some people hurt other people to get their property and make a gain on it, and the people that lost everything, they literally have lost everything for the rest of their life. Tell us about what happened in Michigan.
Well, Michigan has a tax law that is allowing the government to take people's property, sell it, and keep all of the proceeds. So in this case that's pending in the Sixth Circuit, our clients, Wayside Church is one of our clients, and they fell behind on their 2011 property taxes. They were having some financial problems, and still are, actually. The membership got older, and in any event, they fell behind on their property taxes. It's a Chicago-based church that owned a piece of land in western Michigan for a youth camp for inner-city kids. And after they fell behind on their taxes, the state of Michigan took the property, sold it to pay off the $16,000 in taxes, debts, penalties, interest, and then they kept the remaining approximately $190,000 in profit after they paid all of those bills, and they kept it. And under Michigan law, they don't have to refund the former property owners, and we think that's wrong and unconstitutional.
Absolutely. Literally, they made, according to the cheat sheet I have here, they made about 12 times the church's debt, and they're all sitting back with a short cigar in their mouth with their feet propped up on the desk saying, oh boy, look what we did. We made a lot of money. This is insidious to me. But let me go back to the original problem and ask you this. And by the way, before we go into that, weren't there some other private individuals also involved in this?
Yeah, that's right. There's a couple of other individuals. One of our clients, Henderson Hodgins, fell behind on his taxes, and he owed about $5,900, and the government took his land that had a home on it, and they sold it, and they made $47,750. And they kept all of the proceeds. In the meantime, he's an elderly gentleman on a fixed income, and that money would have been very, very helpful to him.
So
another client, Myron Stahl, owed $25,000, and they sold his property for almost $69,000, and again kept all of the money.
Well, now, Christina, in rough figures, these folks made well over $250,000, over $300,000 actually, in net profits for basically taking property away from someone, the church and these private individuals. But let's go back to the original problem. When a person or group of persons like the church fall into a tax property for their taxes, wasn't there a way they could have worked this out without letting this happen?
Well, I mean, I suppose theoretically they if they'd been able to sell their property in time, I'm not sure, but the state really has many other options. Most states actually refund the surplus proceeds. I'm not sure about the law in Idaho, but most states like Florida refund surplus proceeds from a tax sale. But Michigan's decided to go another route. And really most states, if they don't refund the surplus, have a very long period of time that presumably would allow the debt to get significantly larger and allow the property owner much, much more time to figure out what to do with the property. Some states have 6 years,
Right.
but Michigan only gave the property owners 2 years. So it's really unjust that they're taking this extra value of these properties when it's really at the expense of some vulnerable people most of the time.
Well, and when you said vulnerable people, I want to elaborate on that a little bit. I can understand the complete dismay and the heartache of the private individuals that had their property taken and sold. But then you also mentioned earlier the Wayside Church was doing something really good with their congregation, providing a camp for youth that needed, probably because of maybe broken families or whatever, to go to this camp, and now all that's to no avail. I mean, I find this insidious, and the state of Michigan, I think, should be held accountable, and they should provide a new source of having this church provide these services.
Absolutely. They should pay property owners for what they've taken. And the Constitution says very clearly that property should not be taken unless it's for a public use and it's with just compensation. Now, when someone falls behind on their taxes, there is a public use in the sense of taking the property to pay the debt that's owed the government. And so that seems fair, but when you have these valuable properties and the government is taking it and then keeping all of the surplus, that to me seems like a direct violation of the takings clause. And in fact, there's a case pending in Michigan that where a property owner lost a property that sold for $60,000 over what was an $8 late tax fee.
Oh my!
And they added fees on top of the $8, and so they owed about $200, and they took the entire property. And really, if the government can do this when you fall behind on property taxes, then what can they not do?
I want to get this straight. You mean to tell me over the subjective ticket or exploitation of an $8 bill, they took away someone's property? How did it ever get to that point where there was no chance of saving this thing? Was there no notification? I mean, what happened over $8 stinking dollars that a person would lose their property?
I know, it seems outrageous, doesn't it? It's sort of like getting fined for not shoveling the snow on your sidewalk, and then they decide to take your house over it. It just seems so completely outrageous. And if the government can get away with this when somebody falls behind on taxes, they're not committing a crime. They're not, they're not really morally culpable for falling behind on property taxes. But if they can get away with that here, then what else could they do? That's why we think it's so important to hold the government accountable to the requirements of the Constitution.
Well, when you say this, didn't these people, God help them, I hope they did, get their day in court so that in front of their peers and or a judge, they could have this case looked at, like in the case of $8? This is idiocy, Christina.
I agree, and Michigan law is extremely unclear about what you should do in a situation where you had notice that they were going to take the property, but you just weren't able to pay your taxes in time. Michigan law clearly allows you to bring certain claims, like a claim that you were taxed too much and that sort of thing. But it's unclear under Michigan law what court you should file in for a claim like this, that they're taking too much. They're taking the surplus value of your property. It's so unclear, in fact, that they didn't know where they should file, so they filed in federal court because, well, they're bringing a claim under the federal Constitution. Ordinarily, that's perfectly acceptable. Unfortunately, the Sixth Circuit held recently in a divided opinion, 2-1, that you can't bring this claim in federal court. They said that they should leave this to the states, and they said that under something called the Tax Injunction Act and a case that I won't go into in detail, but it's a problem for property owners. It's a case called Williamson County, and they said that they should have filed in state court. The problem is it appears state court doesn't offer a remedy, so these plaintiffs have had the courthouse door slammed shut on them, and we're asking the full Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals to hear this case.
All right, now, Christina, I got a couple of more questions here in the time remaining. Michigan. Okay, sounds very obsessive with taking people's property and making a gain. But are there other states that have perhaps the same type of laws available to them to prevail on private property? Are there any other states?
You know, I haven't completed a full 50-state review yet, but it does appear that there are a few other states with similar laws, but the vast majority of states do not allow this sort of taking to happen. And in fact, a few of them have recently changed the law. They were getting sued for one thing, but I think that people realized how unjust it was. And the District of Columbia actually had a particularly bad law that was also recently changed because of it was really hurting the most vulnerable population, usually the people who own their property, without a mortgage, and so the bank isn't keeping track of tax payments, are older people, and often older people or people who are in the hospital are the ones who fall behind on the property.
Absolutely.
Most states don't have laws like this.
Let me ask you now, with Pacific Legal Foundation, and I've got the utmost respect for you folks. I've followed many, many cases where you've been involved. What do you want? What do you hope to achieve? What do you want the final net result to be when you walk out of court for that last time? What do you want for these property owners?
We want the property owners to be paid just compensation for that extra value of their property that was taken from them. So we just want the government to refund the extra profits they made off of Wayside Church and Henderson Hodgins and Myron Stahl's property. We want them to be paid for the extra value that the government took.
And
more than that, we want a precedent that protects property owners across the state of Michigan, but also across the country, because we don't, the government shouldn't be able to simply change the law and take away your property rights when they make by legislative directive. If the legislature passes a law, the Supreme Court said very clearly you can't simply extinguish property rights just because they say so.
Yeah.
And that's one reason that this case is so important. We want the Sixth Circuit to find in favor of the property owners and protect property rights for everyone.
I can't imagine, you being much closer to it than I'll ever be, but I can't imagine the mental stress that this has put on these people for what they worked for all their lives, their homes, and in the case of the church, the congregation, etc., and just to have that taken away and then sit back and read that those particular counties made a heck of a lot of money off their property and they're sitting like fat cats laughing at them.
It's pretty terrible, but, you know, they have an incredibly good attitude. They don't have the attitude of victims. They have the attitude of people who believe that in the end justice will prevail, whether it's in their case or someday down the road. They take a long view on this. But, yeah, it is heartbreaking, and it's very difficult. And Wayside Church, you know, it's an older church and a community of older individuals, and their income has dropped pretty badly. They can't meet in the winter months in Chicago because they can't afford the heating bill.
Oh, my.
And so they actually have to suspend service during the coldest winter months. And so a win here would really mean a lot for them.
Absolutely. Let me ask you one final thought here, not knowing what the circumstances are here in my own particular state or other states. What would you tell my listeners about a cautionary red flag in case this might happen to them? What would you tell them to do so they've got knowledge beforehand?
Well, I would say, obviously, you never want to fall behind on your property taxes. But if you do know someone, or if something happens, you know, people end up in the hospital. Sometimes that's what leads to this sort of thing happening. You know, I would say that you could reach out to Pacific Legal Foundation and see if we can help you. But ultimately, I think that it's important for people to hold their own government accountable to the requirements of the law, too. So we do it through the courts, but people out there can do it by just pushing for legislative change when this sort of thing is going on in their community.
Absolutely. With the Pacific Legal Foundation, Christina Martin, attorney on the Atlantic Center, and I appreciate what she did this morning explaining this to us. Christina, God bless you. You're always welcome back here. Thank you. We'll have you back in the future.
Thank you. And listeners can find out more at pacificlegal.org.
Very good. Thank you so much for being on the program this morning. You know, I read this story, and I said that I wanted to definitely have Christina on my show. And can you imagine, I mean, the court, the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals is going to be hearing this case. But in Van Buren County in Michigan, the church and two other individuals lost their property because of, quite frankly, minuscule back property taxes. And then the county sold it for huge increases, in one case 12 times more, and they pocketed the money. This is not America. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We're going to get a weather forecast in here. I'm still just sitting here with a big smile on my face like a Cheshire cat. I love the look of that blue sky out there. Oh, baby, maybe spring is here. I hope. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company CPAs. Yes, it is tax time. Yes, it is tax return preparation time. Yes, they are the best at tax planning that is, with two N's, Zeb. Along with retirement planning and bookkeeping services, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Absolutely the best in serving you, and they've been serving the Mini-Cache area for well over 50 years, with locations in Burley and Rupert. You get a hold of them today. The best, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's our weather.
We are still in that flood warning. It is going to be in effect through today, maybe on into tomorrow. Plus, we've got the wind. It's nasty outside, but we're going to see some sunshine. Winds out of the west right around 20 miles an hour, gusts possible of 35 plus, and looking at a high of 36 for today. Tonight, hopefully, those winds are going to be dying down. We are expecting some rain and or snow showers in the forecast for tonight, about a 40% shot. Low of 34 tomorrow. Rain showers, about 50% chance in the forecast for tomorrow under mostly cloudy skies. High of 43, partly cloudy for Tuesday night, low of 38, and then warming up to 52 for Wednesday. possibly 57 for Thursday. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Woo! I love that forecast. Thank you, Gina. You put a smile on my face. Anything above 50 degrees, yeah, there's hope. I'm telling you, goodbye, winter. Hey, listen, thanks to our sponsor of the weather this hour, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation. They know all of this, and they can and will help you. Please get a hold of them, 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. The best of CPAs serving you and your family and your business. All right, it's time for you to give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. I would love to hear from you, and we'll talk about any subject matter that we've talked about so far this morning or anything else on the docket. Give me a jingle, and we'll be sure and take your call. Coming up in just a matter of days, one of my very favorite times of the year, and that's March Madness. Yes, I love basketball. Yes, I'm a basketball purist to the point where there's a lot of changes I'd like to see to go back to what basketball was offensively before a lot of the slowdown games came into effect. But all that being considered, there's going to be the best of March Madness with the super college and collegiate can I start that over? Super college and university teams involved in the NCAA March Madness, and it's going to be exciting. One of the things I wanted to mention about the smaller schools that are going to be competing, you know, when I say smaller schools, I think of one automatically that I've become a fan of, and for no particular reason, but that's Wichita State University. Back in Kansas, the Shockers. And I tell you what, the program, the excitement level of the fans, and the players that they've turned out, one in particular was undrafted going into the pros, Ron Baker. He was a starting guard for the Shockers all 4 years at Wichita State University. And, you know, it's kind of comforting to know that the big recruits and the high draft choices are not the only stories in the NBA or the NFL or Major League Baseball. Ron Baker, yesterday, he was finally picked to play, and he really wowed some coaches with a team that needs to be wowed a little bit, and that's the New York Knicks basketball team, not doing well this year. But yesterday, I just happened to be going through the dial, and I came on the Knicks and the Warriors game. And the Knicks were so frustrating. I mean, they were so pathetically poor on offense and defense, and the Warriors were just trouncing them like a doormat. Well, they put the second string in. The guys that hadn't played and they've never really had an opportunity, and inch by inch, step by step, mile by mile, basket by basket, they came back and tied the game with the Warriors and actually went ahead. And one of the star performers for the Knicks yesterday was this little known or unknown Ron Baker with the Wichita State Shockers. And boy, did he open some eyes in the NBA yesterday with the coaching staffs, the other players, etc. Wow. I mean, absolutely showed hustle and determination and really played well. And I know the Knicks lost, but it was one of those losses that they can actually say they had a victory because they had players on the court that were trying and playing hard, hopefully for a win, and they were up against a really good team with the Warriors. But I was impressed with some of these players that they didn't have much as far as recruiting for the NBA. They didn't have big money contracts, etc. Woo! Did they play basketball yesterday, and I was proud of them. And that's why I like the NCAA March Madness. You see some outstanding talent from some schools that maybe you've never even heard of before. Let's talk about getting a job, shall we? How about calling Ag Express Incorporated? They are looking for drivers. Really good drivers. That's right. Full and part-time positions. Retired folks are welcome. Yeah, they want you to give them a call, too. Call Dale and Paul at 438-8886, or Alan in Twin Falls at 731-2495, or Russ and Burley at 431-7175, and they'll work around your schedule, whatever works best for you. They've got new and maintained equipment and great vacation packages, benefit packages. What are you waiting for? Call Ag Express today. They are looking for drivers. You give them a call right now. And I'd love somebody to give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Now, coming up next hour at 10:06, I'm going to ask you to help me carry the ball. Yep, that's right. I'm going to ask you to help me carry the ball at 10:06. I wanted to talk about how today you, meaning anybody, can kind of pick who you are and what you want to be in this trans world, if you will. And we're going to talk a little bit about one woman that absolutely has turned the apple cart upside down, and that's that Rachel Dolezal. Remember, she's the former NAACP leader from Spokane who said she was black, and boy, she wasn't anywhere close to it. Well, we're going to talk about now, she said she is trans black. And this is not something novel to just Rachel. This idiocy is being permeated all the way through our society. You can be what you want to be or think you are. And it's going to absolutely cause chaos with driver's licenses, anything to do with hiring practices, etc. And I want you to kind of chime in and talk to me about that coming up this next hour. Then we're going to have at 10:30 a gentleman, and I use that term in every sense of the word for him, Mike Lindell, the founder of MyPillow. You've seen his ads on TV, with MyPillow, etc. And he's the founder and CEO of MyPillow. And we're going to talk a little bit about his past history. He's come from literally ruin to riches and has done an amazing job of changing his life and turning it around. He is a very, very strong Christian man. And we're going to have him on at 10:30 this morning. But right now, we're going to turn it back over to Wheels. He's at our main studios with his finger poised upon the button and like a vulture. He's going to play some music and take us up to CBS News, and I'll be back in about 7 minutes. Don't you go away. Wheels, take it. Here we go, hour number 3, and your calls. I've got an open half hour this morning. I thought that I was going to have a guest here this morning at 10:06, and they called and they could not make it, so it is kind of an open forum, and your thoughts on any issue will be appreciated. So this is your program. This is your program. I put forth the subject matter, and it's yours for open discussion. So I don't care what you want to bring up right now. It's open to the public, and we'll share anything. So give me a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Before the break, and by the way, I'll not hedge on any issues on this program. Before the break, we were talking about Rachel Dolezal. Now, this woman, I think, is completely unhinged in her thinking. I think she absolutely needs more than just a job. She needs a psychiatrist. She is a former NAACP leader from Spokane, Washington. And she resigned after it came to light that she was falsely presenting herself as a black woman. But she says that despite being born to white parents, she identifies herself as black. She said she has let her hairstyle and her tanned skin speak for themselves, and a lot of people think that she is black, and she's not correcting them. Now, she told a newspaper that she still believes that race. Now, here's what I want you to comment on this morning, folks. This Rachel Dolezal, believes that race is a social construct. Think of those words. Well, I think that I am, I'm Negroid, or I don't think I'm Caucasian. I think I'm of the Mongoloid, like the Japanese or the Chinese or whatever. And people say, like Rachel, that you can pick and choose your own race. She said, quote, I feel like the idea of being trans black would be much more accurate than I'm white. Because, she said, I'm not white. And she said calling herself black feels more accurate than saying that she's white. What are your thoughts about this? Just think about this a little bit. Our society has lost its sanity. It really has. And we've lost the ethics and the moral value and the family values that we were raised in 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. And now you can disavow, really, your gender. And now you can disavow your race. And you can kind of pick and choose who or what you want to be. So, pretty soon, if it hasn't already happened, somebody's going to say, well, no, I'm not really a human. I'm a horse. Or I'm a cat. Or a bird or a cow. And we'll be told that we have to accept that. Now, surely there's a lot of people that have courage that will call in and give me your opinions. Don't be cowed by the liberal left and thought you're going to be made into a bigotry or a hate monger role, because this has got to be talked about. The TSA, when they have someone go through the airport screening, they want to know who you are and, quite frankly, what you are. When police do an investigation, they want to know who and what you are. Voter IDs, passports, job applications. Have we got into a society today where all that is going to be thrown out the window? Primarily, what I see as a real mess is police investigations. They've got this trans whatever, and they don't really know if it's a male or a female. And if it was a female, maybe that costume comes off, and who to look for, what to look for. And the person stated, well, they're black, but they're not really. They're Caucasian. I mean, this is a mess. Why are we allowing this to happen with people like Rachel Dolezal? And she told this newspaper that her struggle with race goes back to her childhood when she remembered using, now listen to this, brown crayons to depict herself in drawings. And then she told The Guardian that now that she identifies herself as black for the first time in her life, she's really decided consciously to be free from repression. And she said, I had the courage to be exactly who I am. Which is phony and fraud. She's not black. She's white. She's absolutely not perpetrating the truth. And why is our society allowing this to happen? Whether it's the transgenders or whether it's the now trans race people. Please, this is a very important topic, and I know we got some really good listeners out there. Let me know your thoughts on this, because this is not a small problem. This could develop into a huge problem. And our society is going down the tubes because of it. Give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It is on the same plane as to what's going on in Texas. A girl that wants to wrestle girls. Now, this is such a confusing story. This girl is trying to be a boy and has taken the testosterone and everything else. Well, Texas said you can't wrestle in one category, you got to wrestle in the other, and this girl that says it's a boy wrestled the girls and won the state title. I mean, this is so confusing and so absolutely distressing as to what's going on in our society. How are you going to obtain the records? Well, let's see. We think this person won the wrestling title in 2017 as a girl, but actually a boy that's becoming a girl. So do we disavow that record, or this is nuts? Please. And then Rachel Dolezal saying that she's black. And what about her parents? What about her family? I mean, wow, this must just really be devastating to them. And she's not the only one. There are going to be, and already are, a lot of copycatters that are doing the same thing. Well, I feel like I'm Japanese today, so I guess I am of the Mongoloid race and I'm Japanese. What about it? Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your phone call that I know is coming in, I hope, I want to remind you about our two sponsors for our Cassia County School Days that we have on Thursdays at 10:10. One, of course, Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue, Suite E in Burley. And the number to call for the outpatient surgeries and find out exactly, they can save you a lot of money, and please call them today at 677-8888. 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center. And, of course, operations like colonoscopies, glaucoma surgery, etc. You call them today. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget, too, along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center, A Child's World. Oh, my goodness sakes. You can save a lot of money. Clothing and puzzles and games, everything for the entire family. And don't forget, too, they've got all the Cherokee scrubs and shoes at A Child's World. 1308 Overland in Burley, and they invite you to come on in and shop there today. They'd love to see you at A Child's World, and also call Ambulatory Surgery Center, 677-8888. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zeb, a lot of our problems in this world has been created because we've developed an automatic feeder for these people, and because of that, they drift off into these other, do I say, perverted areas in their lives. I mean, this automatic feeder has just diluted our society.
Now, wait a minute, Earl. When you say automatic feeder, what do you mean by those words?
Our welfare system, it's just created too much of an ease for people to live off of, and now we're faced with all of these problems that we're dealing with today.
Well, Earl, I will not subject. I'm going to sound very callous to some, and I'm going to probably sound right to most. I am not going to subject myself to making sure I'm politically correct in calling a boy or a girl a girl. To me, if it's your gender that you're born with, that's what you are. I'm not going to make any exceptions. I refuse to call people by their chosen gender or their chosen gender name. Same is the case with this Rachel Dolezal. She is a white woman. She was not raised black. She is not from a black family. I will not refer to her as anything else except Caucasian, nor should any of us, because then we're living in a false society, Earl.
Yeah, and the false society, it just seems to me this false society has been created to the ease of being to support these people.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm just telling us it's time to stand up. This is much more of a problem than what we anticipate. Earl, take care of yourself up on that mountain. Always good to hear from you, my friend.
Thank you, Zeb.
Thank you, my friend.
Bye.
You bet. Caller number 2, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's scary that people do that. I mean, I think about it and I'm thinking, okay, they've got some wires crossed somewhere.
Well, they do. They do. Instead of spending all the money for this, that, and the other, why don't we spend the money for psychiatrists? Because boy, oh boy, do these people need help.
They do. Who in their right mind would identify as a cat? And I've seen that gal. She wants to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just sits there and you shake your head and go, like, what was the old song for that dee-doo?
Yeah, Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone, that's it.
But, Doug, wait a minute.
Coming true.
Doug, wait a minute. And now think about this. You're a sharp guy, business guy, and I know that you're a Christian. But we're living in a world now that is very, very capable of absolutely forgetting what the truth is or administering the truth. Look what it does to, like, our money that's spent for police investigations, passports, getting on an airplane. It absolutely throws everything in a turmoil because we don't know who these people are.
Exactly. That's exactly true. And it all started when the people come up and said, let's get rid of the prayers in the schools, let's get rid of the 10 Commandments in our courthouses. That's when it started. It is evil, and evil can only be combated by prayer and good.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not going to change my ways, and they can call me whatever they want. But this is an insidious movement going on in our country right now, I think, for more overthrowing of values and ethics in our country.
Right. Now, what's to stop someone that's 30 years old and says, oh, I don't want to work anymore. I identify with a 70-year-old person.
There you go.
So I want my Social Security and I want my Medicare right now because I identify with a 70-year-old person, so I'm 70 years old.
Yeah, I know it. It sounds wacky, but so did all these stories previously. Now they're being accepted, which is terribly stupid on behalf of the American populace. Doug, God bless you. I got another call waiting. Thank you.
Yeah, look at who's accepting them. That'll wake everybody up.
There you go. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Zeb, I'm going to call you friend because I agree with you most of the time. Hey, can I go back to your last guest you had on before the hour?
Yeah, just a minute. I want to clarify what you just meant by that, though. You are one of my dearest friends. I know who this is. But, Bert, I also know that you're a man of great moral value and family ethics. Don't you agree with me that I'm not trying to be way off in left field someplace? I'm trying to tell it like it is. This problem of people being able to relate who they want to be, not really what they are, this is a problem that absolutely is going to cause complete chaos.
Well, and I agree with you on that, Zeb. And that's what I mean. That I am your friend because I agree with you on that.
Okay. Now, what about the last hour? You mean as far as the Pacific?
And they're selling property for the tax, and I agree with that. But there is another side to that in my previous life when I was a county commissioner, that sometimes there are two things that happen when people let their taxes go and don't pay it. First of all, they've moved, or the family's not following up when people get old and pass away.
Okay.
And I don't know about every treasurer, but I know the treasurer in Minidoka County has made tremendous efforts to locate these people way before their taxes, before it comes up for a sale.
Okay.
The other thing that I remember very distinctly, one fellow saying, well, the state can sell it and I'll get the balance of the money. The county doesn't want to be in the real estate business.
Right.
And so, but I would suggest to you, Zeb, that you might want to get one of the county clerks from Twin Falls and have them come on for a show just what the process they go through on that.
I will do that. I will do that and take your advice on that, but you will, caller number 2, stand by just a minute, I'll be there. But you will admit to me, though, Bert, it sounds pretty low and insidious what this county in Michigan did to that church and those others by taking, and really in one case of the church, selling it for 12 times the amount and then keeping the money.
Well, Zeb, I would totally agree with you on that one also, and I think it's criminal when they do that. I don't know that Idaho has a law that they can't, once they collect the taxes that are due, that they can't give that money. In fact, we had legislation that required them to do that, and I don't know whether that, to remember where all these laws went through.
Yeah.
My memory's bad. You knew that.
Well, you know, Bert, I think it's a subject that we should be prepared for and have knowledge on, because if it can happen in one state, it may happen in another, and it might not be done in the most legal or ethical fashion.
Well, it's really easy for some of these people to just want to accumulate all the money they can. Doesn't matter what the source, because that's more money for them to spend.
Absolutely. My dear friend, it's always a pleasure. I've got another call waiting before I get out of this segment, but God bless you and Elaine, and thank you for your call, sir.
Well, as I listened to that, I was hoping that maybe we could tell what the local people feel about it.
I'll be getting a hold of them after the program, I promise. Thanks, Bert. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, sir. Nice man, good friend. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, there used to be a place for those people. They were called insane asylums. And Reagan let them all loose. And it wasn't too long after he let them loose that all this started.
Well, you know, you can point your finger and you can blame Reagan, or you can go here and you can point your finger here. But now our society is accepting. There's the word. We're accepting this as normalcy. And alias, it is far from normal. It's absolutely subnormal, abnormal, whatever you want to call it, because picking your gender, picking your race, I mean, this is insane.
I know. That's why they used to put them in asylums.
I know. I got your gist there. Thank you. All right, buddy.
Okay, bye.
All right, sir. Calls are welcome. I got time for one more call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I am going to take what Bert told me and get a hold of, and I'll try to get more than one county involved, maybe Minidoka and Cassia County, and I'm going to call their offices and see if they can't come on and talk about when people become in arrears on their taxes for their property, what happens, what to do, etc. And I might have some time on Thursday to do that, and I'll see what I can get done. Always with a good outlook. I appreciate Bert giving me a call on that. Don't forget the Southern Idaho Women's Expo is coming up on April 13th at the Best Western Burley Inn and Convention Center. Oh, my goodness. And there's going to be, they say hundreds, and I think probably the numbers are going to be over 1,000 of women going to be there. This is a great place for businesses to show their wares. Absolutely. Vendors, listen, this is the place for you on April 13th at the Southern Idaho Women's Expo, and call for your booth space today. Right now, hurry, because you want to make sure you get in on this. The number to call, 679-4793. 679-4793, that's the chamber office, and that's, of course, to be a business vendor at the Southern Idaho Women's Expo, sponsored by the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce, Idaho Central Credit Union, and Idaho Housing and Finance. Coming up on April 13th. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. A quick note here. We've had a lot of calls, and people are saying, when are you going to have lunch bunch, Zeb? Well, we've already said that last week, and I'm going to keep promoting it. We're going to have lunch bunch, and a little frog in my throat. Not this week, next week, March 16th. Somebody misconstrued what I said last week, and it's not this week, it's March 16th. Wheels has that etched in stone over there, if you call him. And it's going to be the 16th at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner at 11:30. Don't miss it. Put it on your calendar, and I promise you, we will not have a weather alteration again. I'm going to be there if I have to float a boat to Burley. Anyway, it's going to be on the 16th, lunch bunch at Denny's, America's Diner. Don't you forget it. Now, here's what's coming up. We are going to get ready to send it back over to our main studios in just a moment. And then I'm very, very honored to, at 10:32 this morning, have the CEO and founder of My Pillow. What a success story. And Mr. Mike Lindell is going to be on the phone this morning, and right from Minnesota. And we're going to talk about his life. We're going to talk about transitions in his life that helped him to become a better person and, quite frankly, a better businessman. All of that coming up in the next half hour. So stay tuned. Zeb at the Ranch, Wheels, take it away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Welcome back to our last half hour, and I'm going to really enjoy this interview with this gentleman. I've seen him on television no less than probably 10,000 times, and I said to my wife, I've got to get him on my program with his story, his background, his success, and we say good morning to the founder of My Pillow, Mike Lindell. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Real good, Zeb. It's great to be on your show today.
Well, it's all my pleasure, believe me, Mike, and I guess I'll start off with by saying this. Most people want to build maybe a better mousetrap or maybe design a better can opener. What in the world possessed Mike Lindell to design a better pillow?
Well, I had the same problems everybody had, I found out. First, I thought it was actually kind of weird. I thought, how come pillows don't work for me? And I was go through the years, I tried every pillow out there. They'd go flat. I'd use my arms, fold them. Neck would be sore in the morning. Felt like I needed a nap, even though I might have slept 8 hours. But I had all these problems, and it got to be, it was like 2004, and actually I was seeing a chiropractor then too, and I'm going, how come I feel good when I leave? I go to bed at night, my pillow goes flat, and I'm, so I was seeing him again in 3 days, and I actually, then I thought, you know what, I'm going to start, I wanted to bend the pillow, you could move it, and it would hold its position, and I actually had dreams, back to back back then, and a lot of divine dreams from God that, for this pillow, and it just kept coming, it took about a year to invent.
Now, Mike, I want to get back into, I've got a lot of respect for you in another area, and that's because when you were doing the ads on TV, I noticed that a necklace that you wear, the same as what I do with the cross, that there had to be some Christian backing there. Give us a little background about your Christianity, and also, if you would, about a problem that you had in your life that you overcame.
Well, I was a cocaine addict for since the mid '80s, and but I did raise a family. We're a very functioning addict, and it got to be the early 2000s. That switched to crack cocaine, and if I was a crack addict, I had spent things went down pretty fast. But during same with a parallel railroad track at that time, I was inventing the pillow, and God carried me through all those times. I mean, it was just I look back now and I go, there's miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle, and from near-death experiences to, spending time, I was in some pretty bad places, and it got to be January 16th, 2009, and the prior 7 years, the pillow, I was turned down everywhere with the pillow when I invented it, and I ended up doing a kiosk, and the kiosk failed, but through another divine appointment, I ended up doing, this guy had bought one pillow there, and he had the Minneapolis Home and Garden Show, and he said, this pillow created a miracle in my life, would you like to be in the show? successful. So my wife and I at the time, we did shows and fairs for like 5, 6, 7 years, and I ended up getting a 20-year divorce over it. I had so much betrayal. People tried to take the company, take the manufacturing. It was down to just a dot on a TV many, many times. But on January 16, 2009, I knew if I went one day further, I could not get it would not, my calling, which is just, the pill is just a platform for a lot bigger things, for my evangelistic platform and a platform to spread the word of Jesus. And what I did that day, I knew the pill company wouldn't even be here. I had one prayer to God. I said, I want to wake up in the morning and never have the desire again for drugs, cigarettes, alcohol, everything. And I did. I woke up the next morning and I thought it'd be all this weight of the world on my shoulders and for this calling, and it was the most peaceful feeling, and the desire was gone, and I've never looked back on that.
Mike, we have a little bit of a problem, I think, if you're on a cell phone or whatever, but it's fading a little bit. If you could talk, I hate to ask you this, sir, it's kind of rude on my part. If you could talk directly into that mouthpiece, we're having a little problem with the reception. I apologize. But Mike...
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now, okay?
Oh, much better. Thank you. Much better. Mike, Christianity today, it seems like the minute somebody finds out you're a Christian or that you're a Christian-oriented company, it seems like the left and the way things are trending in this United States, that the left will come out and smear you and denigrate you. How have you overcome that with your MyPillow company and basically looked in their eyes and said, this is the way it's going to be and I'm not going to change?
Well, when I first started wearing, I've always worn my cross, and even back before the MyPillow, and that's just that's the way I wear it. And I got calls back when I first made my first infomercial, and that infomercial I went from 5 employees to 500 in 40 days, and I was getting calls by people, like you say, all over the country, just bad-mouthing me for wearing a cross, and some said, oh, you're using it to sell pillows, and other ones said, how dare you wear this and put Christianity on us. And I was actually at a good story here. I was actually in a shopping channel in Canada, and I did this. She came to my dressing room, and she said, I would prefer you don't wear that cross on TV today. And I said, well, then I'm leaving. And I meant it, and I didn't have money then. And they said, well, I guess if you feel that strongly about it, you can stay. And nowadays, I've gotten through that. It's kind of like Phil Robertson of Duck Dynasty. I mean, I can say anything on TV now on any channel, and I'm accepted for that. Now, when I got political last year, I actually met Mr. Trump, invited me to see him because all my stuff's made in the United States, 1,600 employees, and I went last summer. When I met him in New York, the first thing he said to me, he goes, Mike, he says, are you a Christian? I always see you wearing that cross. And I said, yes, I am, and this is a divine appointment. And we had the most amazing talk for 40 minutes, and I knew he was going to be our president. So I've pushed back on all my beliefs, whether it's the president or my Christianity. I just do it.
Mike, let me tell you this. On my program, ever since I started this talk show about 17 years ago, I've always ended my show with the slogan, the way things were are the way things ought to be. And the reference is that we had better family values, better ethics, more morality, the way things were years ago. Can we ever get back to that in this country? It seems like we've really shifted to the left and the morality has gone down the drain.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'll kind of let it out on your show. I'm going to be working with the millennials, the inner cities, and all this. Right now, I have a foundation that I started a few years ago, but I'll be working directly with a lot of entities in these, including Dr. Ben Carson. He's a very good friend of mine, and I've. This is all coming, I'm going to do everything I can, but I really believe we can once, it started with our president where he's going to unite this country. I mean, it doesn't, it doesn't look like it now, but we have a whole generation of millennials that, I don't know what happened. If they, you know, this a lot of it's common sense. It's like, you know, where are we going with this? You know, taking God out of this country. I mean, it's a second chance for our country to get back to where we were, and I really believe it's going to happen because the election was a miracle in itself, and if Christians can stand up and be heard, and you know, and show by example, and not just you know, go to church once a week, and it's got to start with us, but I really think it can change. I think it can change back, and I think once you start showing things that you know, and it starts. I hate to say it, but with the politics, but being pulled away for 8 years the wrong direction, I think that crippled us, but it didn't kill us.
Mike, when you talk to these millennials, and you are such a great spokesman for try, and if that doesn't work, then try harder and be a success. What do these kids want nowadays? Do they really want everything handed to them? Do they really want to do nothing with their lives? What's the attitude of these kids when you talk to them?
Well, you know, for me, I've never been able to sell pillows that much to the millennials, but they do view me as a very trusted kind of culture icon or a pop icon, and I talk to them and I do speeches with them all the time, and I think they're, you know, I don't think they know what to believe in. You know, you see that a lot of them, even at protests, they don't even know what they're protesting.
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of scary that they don't know what they want. I don't believe they really want everything handed to them. I don't know. I don't know if it's they want. I think they're very confused by media. I think media and obviously the colleges. I think colleges need to. We need to change that. That professors teaching stuff that just isn't. You know, what would you say? You get out in the real world and things are different. You know, and you can't take what you're. It comes back to common sense. It really does, and you know, and God, putting God back in our country. And I think that whole group, that millennials, it is a very. I'm going to actually try. We're actually trying to I have a lot of programs coming out with that I'm going to be working with the millennials. So I'm going to learn a lot more. But it is. I have kids that are in that group, and I just spent a couple of days with my son. We were in South Dakota. We were out hunting, goose hunting, and we had a lot of talks about the different things of the millennials. And I think it's hard to understand them because I don't think they know what they want.
You know, Mike, let me ask you this. You have proven that small business can succeed and be highly successful in this great country, America, with the MyPillow. I mean, my goodness, you have probably far exceeded everything that you ever thought for your company. And after meeting Donald Trump and talking about the business climate in America, what are your thoughts about business and an attitude of success for this country that we haven't had in a long time?
It's going to be, you know, I did it when I talked to Mr. Trump, our President Trump. You know, the stuff that I'm doing, and I'm in Minnesota. There's a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of, you know, to take this, to bring back the jobs and keep it. You got to put America first, the U.S. first, and everything he's doing is for these jobs, and it is going to change. It's going to be amazing. You know, you talk about jobs in the inner cities and jobs in general. MyPillow made it in spite of all this stuff, and which, you know, I've showed it can be done here. So if you start changing a few of these things to give us a level playing field, it could be amazing again. You know, bringing these production back here. I mean, you don't need companies that have to make billions of dollars when you can keep them here and make $500 million. I mean, come on, you know. It just it drives me nuts. I think another thing too is I really think you know, start with our tech companies with Silicon Valley, and I think they should you know, keep the money here in our country and help our country, but I really think that by keeping everything that our president is going for is going to finally do something that hasn't been done in this country, and that's, the jobs and fix the inner cities, and that's what's going to unite the country. And I really think it's going to come to fruition. It's going to be amazing. And I proved it can be done at My Pillow. We went from 5 in a few short years, from 5 employees to now over 1,600 employees, and they're all paid very well, where it's like a career to them rather than just a job.
Absolutely.
And, if companies start caring for their employees and not just treat them like a number in corporate America or in production, and worry about that bottom line. I mean, My Pillow takes in plenty and does real well doing it the other way, where you actually care about your employees. So I think every company in this country can also look in their own backyard too and help out, rather than having to rely on the president to just change everything overnight. All these companies should work with this together too.
And the one thing I highly respect you for, Mike, and we've never met, but I'd love to shake your hand someday. You've taken your success with My Pillow and created the Lindell Foundation, and you're helping others. And for that, sir, I take off my hat and I salute you.
Well, thank you. And that started within my company with all my employees. I don't have a typical HR. That's actually where I started my Lindell Foundation, where we check out if someone comes to work and they've had a problem at home or something, and they're late, or it's a deviation, a no call, no show. We find out why, and if maybe there's some addiction involved, we go get them help. I had a guy that was walking 18 miles to work every day, and I found that out, and I bought him a car. I'm going, we're pragmatic, solve the problems, and help our employees like they're a big family. And even though we're so big now, that's what it feels like, and it works. We don't have typical problems, HR problems, and I took that to the masses. So we're out there helping people. With the Lindell Foundation, there's no overhead. We pay the overhead. So if anything you get there, this is when we launched this, where anything you give to the person or give to whatever the need is, that 100% of your money goes there. I got tired of charities and foundations where only a dime of your dollar gets to the person in need or the recipient, so I'm really working on fixing that. It's going to be an amazing thing when the gold standard is set out there, where you people should have know that when they put money to some foundation, that 100% or more of or 100% of their money goes to the actual recipient.
Mike, one final thought. When you get home and take your shoes or boots off at night and sit in the chair, have you ever wondered, with the great success that you've had, thanks to the good Lord above, the question, how high is up? I mean, how big can you possibly get, and what else is in store for Mike Lindell?
Well, I know that I just let God be, wherever he takes me. But this platform that he's given me is, I'm going to have as much. I want people to know that I didn't get here. This was God's company and provide this platform of notoriety. And I don't know where it ends. I want to help so many people, and it's all about redemption, transformation, and salvation. And I want to get out there, and if I ever thought, what amazes me, I would have never thought of me speaking or talking to people, doing these and having this evangelistic platform that God's given me. And I just want to give back to the people, but also give back and do for Jesus, for God. And,
Mike, we have
that's where I'm going to go, and I think with the tie to the president now, and whatever he needs, I'm going to be there for him, and I want to get continue to find out where this is going to go. But I think it's going a lot bigger.
All right, we've got time for one quick call to you, Mike. Caller, go ahead fast. I've only got 2 minutes left in the segment, please.
I know that. I'll just say this. Where you're talking about where all of our kids and stuff are coming from, well, I just want to give you a little example. I was in the doctor's office here last week, and this really cute little boy, he was trying to be good. I think he would have been. The mom just sat there, let him do whatever he wanted, ran back into the other doctor's offices and things like that. Got really loud, then he'd just sit down and be really good for a little bit, and then he'd get really loud again. But there was no discipline whatsoever.
Right.
And I'm afraid that this is where a lot of this is coming from.
I appreciate your call. Mike, the lady brought up the point that maybe, and I agree with this, that we need to employ a lot more discipline like we used to. Quick response.
Oh, absolutely. Political correctness ruined this country. It just brought it down. And, goes back to, yes, discipline and policing and rules. I mean, come on. I mean, it's just, that's what, if it doesn't start changing now, our millennials, what are they going to teach their kids? We really need to look at ourselves and look what's going on, and hopefully we're in the biggest turning point ever in history. That's what I'm hoping, and that's what we're praying for.
All I can say is every time I see you on television from now on, I can say I'm proud to have met and talked to that man, Mike Lindell with MyPillow, the founder. God bless you, sir, and thank you for taking the time to be on my program.
God bless, and thank you, Zeb, for having me on. It was an honor to be on.
You're very welcome, sir. Thank you very much. What a nice individual, and like I said, I'm very proud to have had him on my program. I just, a couple of weeks ago, I said, I've got to have him on the show with his success story about how literally from rags to riches, if you will, in his life, being an addict and how he overcame that, and now with a huge, huge company called MyPillow, and above everything, he is an outstanding Christian, and I salute him. Mike Lindell, thank you. Holy cow, I got to get a weather forecast on here. Zeb, you got to play within the rules. You got to get the weather on here quickly because of Scarro's Meats being the sponsor at 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Absolutely delicious meats, like the oven-ready marinated prime rib. It's fantastic. All of this from your locally owned custom meat processor for over 20 years, Scarro's Meats. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We are still in that flood warning. It is going to be in effect through today, maybe on into tomorrow. Plus, we've got the wind. It's nasty outside, but we're going to see some sunshine. Winds out of the west right around 20 miles an hour, gusts possible of 35 plus, and looking at a high of 36 for today. Tonight, hopefully, those winds are going to be dying down. We are expecting some rain and or snow showers in the forecast for tonight, about a 40% shot. Low of 34 tomorrow. Rain showers, about 50% chance in the forecast for tomorrow under mostly cloudy skies. High of 43, partly cloudy for Tuesday night, low of 38, and then warming up to 52 for Wednesday, possibly 57 for Thursday. That is your weather for Zeb at the Range.
Oh, Gina, thank you. It's sounding better. Yes, it is. And the weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew. Hello, Don. How you doing? At 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. In the beginning of the conversation with Mike Lindell, I know we had a little phone problems. Wheels, I don't know what happened, but thank you for your help over there. I hope we didn't miss too much of that. How did it come through?
I thought it was great. I loved listening to what he had to say. I think when you're trying to overcome something like that early in your life that only a few percentage of people get over, I think that's an incredible, touching story.
Absolutely. Thank you, Wheels. I appreciate it. I just want to give Mike a real shout-out to his staff that works for him in the office of their headquarters of MyPillow. They were so gracious. And I would imagine they probably get, I can't even think how many appeals for having Mike on their program. And the lady I talked to said, yes, Mr. Bell, we'll take care of it right away. Woo! They were efficient and very, very nice. By the way, there's a big spring tire sale going on right now at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, oh my goodness sakes, they've got all the tires you need for a spring tire sale on your cars, pickups, SUVs, like the Eclipse tire for your cars, all-season traction, advanced tread design. It's on sale right now for your cars. You check it out, along with all the other tires, all the tread designs. Yes, they've got tires for your driving needs. And don't forget to all the batteries, all the front end alignment, shocks and struts, and the best in brake service. They are the best. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Oberlin in Burley. Yep, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. The best. Good program. And thank you for all of your calls. Tomorrow, along with Frosty Woldridge and Dr. History, and then I've got a couple of political guests coming on, and I'm going to take Bert's response and try to get a hold of maybe a couple of the county treasurer's departments, talk about real estate and back taxes, etc. We'll get all that put together, and we appreciate you tuning in right here on Zeb at the Ranch, Monday through Thursday from 8:06 to 11, and also, besides K-Bar 12:30 a.m., streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, we've had some people ask about the Cow Pies and Coffee Cups weekly blog. Just go to zebbell.com. You'll see where it says Cow Pies, Coffee Cups. Click on it, and we'll send it to you, okay? It's really gaining in popularity all across the United States. Until tomorrow at 8:06, God bless, and remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be.